All right, hi friends, back again. We're gonna get ready to do a little bit of reading. All right, so yesterday we read the story, The Little Engine That Could. Today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about plot. Now I know that you just watched a video called Plot Mountain. I watched it and I thought it was a really cute way to describe essentially what happens in the story, what the plot is, what happens at the beginning, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end. And I like the way they show the train going up and over Plot Mountain because it goes along with our story of The Little Engine That Could. All right, so in the beginning of the story, what I'd like you to do first is I'd like you to open up your Skills Buddy book to page 86 in the green square. 86 in the green square, okay? All right, we're gonna use this page. I'm not gonna retell the whole story because we just listened to it yesterday, but I do want you to use the boxes here as we talk about the different things like they talked about on the video on Plot Mountain. The first one that I wanna talk about is I want you to put your finger on number 1 in the red circle, okay? Number 1 in the red circle, okay? All right, that's the beginning of the story. What's happening in the beginning of the story? Now I'm gonna open up my book and I'm gonna read that page so that we can talk about what happens at the beginning of the story, okay? In the beginning of the story, it's chuff, chuff, pug, chug, chug, puff, puff, ding, dong, ding, dong. The little train rumbled over the tracks. She was happy because she had such a jolly load to carry. Her cars were filled full of good things for boys and girls. Okay? So in the beginning of the story, or as they said on Plot Mountain, in the introduction, they talk about the characters and the setting of the story. So if I take a look at the setting in this picture, I can tell that this story is taking place where? Very good. Out in the wood, out in the maybe the country, not in the city, because I don't see any tall buildings or anything like that. So now I know where the setting of the story is. It's taking place out in the country, okay? Now, if I take a look, if you look at number 1 in your red box on that page, now we're going to find out about who the characters are. And remember, we said there were toy animals, giraffes, and teddy bears. Then there were dolls. And there were the funniest little toy clown that you ever could see. And there were cars full of all the toy engines and every kind of thing that boys and girls could want. Okay? So in the introduction, we're finding out the setting of the story, and we're also finding out who or what the characters are. So now we know that the setting of the story is taking place out in the country, and we know that the characters are all these great little toys, stuffed animals, dolls, toy engines, and they make the point to say the funniest little clown, okay? All right, so that's called the introduction of the story. And if you remember, Plot Mountain, introduction is where we're starting. Then they talk about the rising action or the climax. What happens next in the story? And they talked about that being the problem. Well, if we think back to the story, what was the problem in the story? What was the problem? Okay, if we think about the problem, it was, then all of a sudden, the little engine stopped with a jerk. She simply could not go another inch. Okay, so if we remember from the story, the problem is the train gets stuck. Very good, the train gets stuck, can't move on. Well, why is this a problem? This becomes the rising action or the climax, the problem of the story. Well, where are all the little toys trying to go? That's right, they're trying to go over the mountain. If they don't get over the mountain, what's going to happen? All the children won't get their toys. Exactly. So that's the rising action. That's the problem that's happening on that Plot Mountain, okay? Now there's another problem that's happening as well. And what starts to happen, if you look at number 2, 3, and 4 in your red boxes, 2, 3, and 4 in your boxes, that starts to tell what the problem is too. What's the first problem? Well, the shiny new engine says, I pull you. I'm a passenger engine. I'm too fine to carry you. So the first engine says, nope, I'm not going to help you. Then the next problem comes when this train, the big strong engine bellows, I can't help you. I only carry important things over the mountain. So that's a problem too. And then if you look at your red box number 4, we come to the kind engine, the rusty old engine, but he says, I'm too tired and too old to help you. I can't help you. So on that plot mountain, where we see the rising action and the problem is, well, nobody will help the little engine. Nobody will help the little train car get over the mountain so that the toys can be delivered. So now we know what the problem is, okay? Now the next part is the falling action, how the problem starts to get solved, the resolution in the problem. So if you look at red box number 5 and number 6 in the red circle, 5 and 6 in the red circle, if you look at those two boxes, that's our falling action. That's our resolution. That's where we start to find out how the problem is going to get solved. And how does the problem get solved? Well, our little blue engine comes along and says, what's the problem? What's the matter, my friends? And they say, oh, little blue engine, will you pull us over the mountain? Our engine has broken down and all of the good boys and girls on the other side won't have any toys to play with or good food to eat unless you help us. So this is the falling action. This is the resolution. They find an engine that maybe will help them. And she says, I'm not very big, and they only use me for switching trains in the yard. I've never been over the mountain before, she tells them. Okay, she tells them, I've never been over that mountain before. But then she says, I think I can, because she's thinking about all those good little boys and girls on the other side of the mountain who would not have any toys or good food unless she helps. So she says, I've never really done it before, but you know what? I think I can. And so the resolution is, what does she do? She reaches the top of the mountain and she heads back down the mountain onto the other side for all the good little boys and girls to get their toys and all their good things to eat, okay? All because she thought that she could, okay? So that's why I wanted you to watch that little video of Plot Mountain so that we could take it and talk about the little engine that could this morning and talk about the plot, what happens in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. But really look at it and say, okay, well, what happens in the beginning and what do we learn in the beginning? Well, we learn about the characters, we learn about the setting of the story, and that's really important for us to understand. Then we, in the middle part, the rising action or the climax, almost the top of the mountain, we understand what the problem is in the story that the characters are facing. Their engine had broken down and all the other engines were saying, we are not going to help you. And then we start to come down that other side of that plot mountain and we talk about the falling action and the resolution, which is the kind little engine comes along and says, you know what? I've never done it before, but I think I might be able to help you. And it sounds like you really could use the help. So a good reader understands the plot of a story, the beginning, the middle, and the end, the introduction, the rising action and problem, and then the resolution. And when you take the time to understand that, that you really understand the story and the meaning behind the story, which was that the little engine said, you know what, I really think I can help you. Okay, she believed in herself and thought, I really can help you. All right, now what we're going to do is I promised you we were going to do a fun little writing project this week where you're actually going to make a train. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to do is I sent out to Mom and Dad, you should have your first train car, okay? You should have your first train car. And today what we're going to do is we are going to start to write. But give me 1 second. Do you see a blue marker over there? Oh, thank you, Mr. Rooney. All right. So the first thing we're going to do today is we are going to write about what happens. What happens first in the story, okay? So the first thing that happens, and we're going to use the word first. We're going to write up here, it says the first, and it says, what did we say happens? The, right? T-H-E, the, two finger space, train, right? What happens to the train? Very good. Breaks. Down. D-O-W-N. And then we put a period at the end, okay? So that's the first part of our writing. The train breaks down. Now what I'd like you to do today, after you finish writing it neatly, is color in your train car. But be careful, don't color over the sentences that you just wrote. You can color around them, but you can do the bottom part, the top part, and you can do your wheels and the back and forth, okay? You want to do that because we want to make our train look really colorful, okay? All right, so that's the first part. Today we're writing about the introduction of the story. We're writing about what happens in the beginning of the story. And it is that the train breaks down with all the little toys on it and the funny little clown and all the good things to eat for the boys and girls on the other side of the mountain. So we learn that in the introduction, that that's what happens, okay? All right, great job writing. Make sure you get your train car colored in, because tomorrow we're going to write about the rising action or the problem. We're going to write about those other engines that will not help them, all right? All right, great job today, my friends, and I will see you later on. Bye.